the 33rd anniversary of my having actually married my wife, which is why she's my wife and I'm her husband, because the word marry had meaning then, and it still does. It's just that, the people I feel the most for are the young people, are the millennials, that have had stolen from them meaningful definitions of words like freedom and liberty and marriage and character and integrity. They're the ones that are fueling all of this, but don't seem to realize that in the process, the whole reason for this is they're trading away their humanity for something much less. Anyway, much has been said. I listened to, or read, depending on how you want to put it. But I listened to the entirety of the SCOTUS decision and the dissents. So the majority opinion, which, when you think about it, again, I just go back and look at what Elena Kagan was like before Barack Obama put her on the Supreme Court, and I just go, that's the whole reason she's there. She could retire now. She's done. That was what she was there to do. But these 5 attorneys in robes, when you read what they said, what struck me again, aside from the shallow, if 2 men have adopted a child, then we can't let that child think that their family is lesser than anyone else's family. And you sit here and you facepalm, because you go, so if we have, why not just go ahead and go all the way and say polygamy is good? Because it's done. The reasoning, and the dissent said this, but the reasoning it's right there. It's all done with. If that's the kind of emotional thing that causes the majority to do what they do and to find in the 14th Amendment rights that no one at the time of the 14th Amendment could have ever even dreamed of, it's done with. It's over with. So, but the main thing is that in listening to all of it, even listening to the dissents, there is no, from a Christian worldview, there was no meaningful discussion of the real issues. Because you see, all the way back to Lawrence v. Texas, you can no longer talk about morality or immorality. Well, you can in a passing sense. It is moral to create rights so that people are quote unquote equal. That's the great morality. Even if you have to destroy everything that's good, honest, and just in the process. But you can't talk about any sexual behavior as being immoral. So, I mentioned this when the Doma case took place. If you listen to the argumentation, there was not a single word about morality or immorality. And if we can address these issues in our society without being able to say anything about morality or immorality, it's over with. It's done. How can you even talk about things like murder? Why are we putting murderers in jail? What's the moral foundation for saying that that's wrong? And as soon as you ask that question, the issues of ultimate authorities come into view, and you can't talk about that anymore. It has to be assumed as a given. So it struck me that though there were some real good zinger lines in the dissents, still, the whole discussion was, from a Christian worldview, irrelevant. The whole thing. Yeah, sure. There were good observations that, no nation before 2001 had ever done anything like this, and this is all these other decisions the majority referred to all had to do with heterosexual relationships and blah 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 blah. Sure, there were good observations, but if you can't talk about morality and immorality in a court of law, waste of breath and waste of paper and waste of disk space. It's all just so much noise. It's all just so much noise. So it didn't shock me, but it certainly made me realize once again the vast chasm that exists between the Christian worldview and its ability to give a foundation and the secular worldview, which cannot give you any foundation at all. Now, I spoke, and I maybe Rich would have time to find out. I'd be interested to see if Christ Presbyterian posted the audio on their YouTube channel of my sermon from Sunday morning. Yeah, Sunday morning. Because I did at least 1/3 of the sermon was on Hebrews 13:4, which I did preach on in obviously the series through Hebrews, so it was a couple years ago. But there's just my mind has been doing a lot of thinking about all the ramifications and all the interconnectedness of worldview, and the fact that this was just a big leap at the end of a lot of small steps that have been going on for a long time. It started off as a walk of rebellion. It became a trot of rebellion. It became an all-out run of rebellion, and this was the long jump at the end of it. This was the and instead of dropping into a nice sandy pit, this was right off the edge of the cliff. And there are so many things that have led up to this, that looking back, you can see them. You can see the intention. You can see the direction.